Do you want to find the number one reason why your child may have plateaued or seen little to no progress so far in PT and OT and is getting further behind in their motor milestones? Are they struggling to sit up, crawl, or walk despite months of traditional therapy? Do they seem fatigued easily, slouch constantly, and avoid physical activities altogether? If this sounds familiar, then you're not alone. Many parents are left frustrated and confused when their child's gross motor delays continue to be a challenge, even after countless therapy sessions and home exercises. But what if we told you that the root cause of your child's challenges might be something that's often overlooked by traditional pediatric therapies? The real root cause of gross motor delays in kids goes way beyond low tone and a weak core, and we'll break down exactly what that is in this video. This video is for parents of children with gross motor delays who have tried traditional therapies but haven't really seen lasting results and are seeking answers as to why their children have plateaued or become stuck with their progress and want to learn how to get back on track. In this video, we're going to dive into the crucial role that the brainstem and neurospinal system is in gross motor development and how something called subluxation and sympathetic dominance can be the root cause of gross motor challenges, low tone, a weak core, and so much more. Let's talk about Joseph. He's a 12-year-old boy who walked into his local PX doc's office seeking help with his daily challenges associated with autism, ataxia, and chronic constipation. But what caught our attention immediately were his significant gross motor delays and struggles. Joseph's mom shared with us that he will always find a way to slouch no matter what they do. And she was right. Joseph struggled to sit up straight, stand tall, and move around without exhaustion. His body was simultaneously wound up and worn out, leading him to seek additional movement stimulation through constant stimming and other behaviors. As a result, they had stopped all PT and OT. They'd pretty much given up that his gross motor function and posture would ever get back to normal. But within the very first week of getting care, Joseph's gross motor function and endurance absolutely took off. He was literally asking to go to the gym and work out, hit the treadmill, and go to the park to play. Mom was ecstatic, and so were we. So why might gross motor skills be so important? Gross motor skills involve movements that require the entire body and are essential for daily activities in overall development. They involve primarily large muscle groups like arms, legs, core, but way too often a foundational and crazy important set of nerves and muscles are left off the list when it comes to gross motor skills and development. Those are the neck and neurospinal systems. If we can break down gross motor development into stages, this is what it would look like. First, you start off with head and neck control for latching, nursing, and so forth. Then we get into the trunk and thoracics with tummy time, learning to roll over. And then from there, the child learns to activate and use their core in order to sit up. After this, they learn to army crawl and then regular crawl. Crawling is an essential part of brain development. We'll discuss that later. And finally, they learn to furniture cruise and then start walking on their own. How can something we call subluxation and sympathetic dominance start changing the way that kids can move through gross motor development? The nervous system, specifically our neurospinal system, plays a crucial role in gross motor development and is easily the most overlooked aspect of this important conversation. The first thing to develop in utero is the brainstem and spinal cord, because from the first moments of life, the brain and central or autonomic nervous system will control every single movement of muscles, heart beating, lung breathing, food digestion, and everything beyond. Therefore, if we're trying to get to the root cause of any neuromuscular or gross motor problem, we can't focus solely on the muscles. We've got to address the neuro part first and foremost. And that's where PT and OT can fall off because they can't quite access and improve central nervous system function quite like chiropractic can. Once subluxation and sympathetic dominance or increased tone set up shop in the neck and neurospinal system, most commonly caused by things like breech positioning or birth interventions like forceps, vacuum induction, C section, that hyper or high tone will stay stuck in those regions until adjusted and cleared out of the way. This means that the original real cause of low tone or a weak core is actually tension and subluxation in the neck and neurospinal system, which we can find on our examination analysis and EMG scans that we run in the office. I'm going to take a minute to go through some EMG scans that we have from a previous patient. All right, so here you can see this red or blown out hypertonicity, which again just means that the tone is too high. It's too much. There's too much tension. And it's stuck in the region where the brainstem and the neck really can have some effect on that vagus nerve. You can also see at this scan down here that there's what we call counter torque, or there's a crossover in the tension pattern at the very top. This is really connected to birth trauma, and it can have some effects on colic, ear infections. Not only does it affect how the body can drain, but when it affects that vagus nerve, then it can affect everything from all those gross motor challenges to how well the system can be in that calm, relaxed state instead of being in that high stress, stuck state. If we go back up to this scan right here, we can see this yellow piece. It's in this core area, and it means that this is a weakened or exhausted part of the neurospinal system. Now, if we look over at this one where it's all white, this is what a normative or what would be ideal for this scan to look like. This, we can see that the cervicals are nice and calm. We don't see that big blown out red area, but we can also see that this core area is bigger. We want to see that this core is nice and strong. It stabilizes the body and all of your organs are functioning in there. If we have a weak core, then there's a really strong possibility that there's going to be a lot of dysfunction in the system. Let's put it all together when we look at this other scan through here. We call this our EMG pattern score, and we can see right here that this pattern is at 52.1%. Now, this low pattern score really relates to that low gross motor function, coordination, and how this score is distributed in the whole neuromuscular system, or how the motor tone is throughout the whole spine. So it's not just going to affect this area or certain areas, it's going to affect the whole system and decrease the tone that will make it really hard for kids to move and be able to get through those motor milestones. So if your child has been struggling with gross motor delays and you feel like you've tried everything without lasting results, it's time to look deeper and find out if subluxation, excessive sympathetic tone, and things like the lasting effects of birth trauma could still be at play. To find out how your child's gross motor function is doing down to the very core, you can visit the link in our bio, or you can call our office to learn more about the neurological insight scans and especially the EMG that we just showed you here in this video. Once we have those scans, we can create a truly customized and fully tailored adjusting care plan made just for your child, and finally get them past this plateau or stuck point and back on track with their motor development.